how do we uproot the self-doubt that impedes the pathway or distorts the pathway to actually trusting the heart? So there may be voices that we face that are self-doubting, that are actually giving us information that can inform our discernment about what's aligned. And then there are the self-doubts that stem from a deeper imprinting in our body and field of distrusting our heart. And this can originate from experiences where in some shape or form it registered as unsafe to actually express, listen to, or act from our inner knowing. So how do we reclaim that inner knowing and see clearly when the voices of doubt arise and attempt to pull us off course? So recently I've been in experience of really fuller expansion into a vision that I've been having and stepping forward, and along the way of continually coming back to that which feels true and coming from this soul calling that shows as a luminosity in the heart. And when on course, there's this match of luminosity with what it is that I'm choosing. So in the process of this, I've been facing places of self-doubt and going into seeing what is the origin of those self-doubts. And what I've come to is feeling the impacts of having messages that, like receiving voices, hearing people's words and actions as a child, and that translating into a distrust of what my inner body knowing perceptive apparatus is saying. So how do we uproot those places, those voices, when they arise and attempt to usurp our energy and pull us off our true course? Part of it is seeing clearly, and it can be helpful to look into the origin so that we can shed light on the progression of how those imprints have been part of the construct of our process of perception. And then having a practice of continuing to come back to, and I notice this movement with my hands, so continuing to come back to our midline, and that felt sense of this illumined divinity that we can feel through our midline and can be especially palpable in the soul center of the heart, beneath the layers of the emotional experience of the heart. So into that core. as we anchor in that felt sense of what it is like to move from here, then when these other voices arise, we can come back here and check it. Check this voice with this anchor. And sometimes we might find ourselves pulled out for quite some time, and then it's a process to come back in order to have that clearer discernment. So another thing to inquire if we notice a doubt is, does this have a quality of fear? Or is there some information in this doubt that can actually inform my pathway of clarity? Because as we practice really moving from the heart, there are ways in which we can delude ourselves with stories of the mind, telling ourselves that what we want is what our heart is calling us to. And so this comes to another point of when we are aligned in the place of the soul center in the heart, this is inherently connected with the divine stream of love. And this is a very different quality of presence, consciousness, energy than our human desire that is oriented to some kind of egoic fulfillment or attempt to have fulfillment. When the true fulfillment is being full of that divine presence, this is a continual act of surrender until it becomes an abiding continuity. So we can check our motives. Are we realigning? Are we choosing to consecrate our actions as a movement of divine love? Or are we moving from some kind of attachment and looking for something that is actually pulling us out of that center? So, in summary, we are watching the self-doubts, looking into the origin, seeing if there's any information that is serving us to actually come into alignment, or is this voice of doubt pulling us out of alignment with that divine surrender to being an instrument of love? And I'll just close with a prayer that there be ease and grace in our aligning all aspects of our vessel to be an instrument of divine love.